The African savannah was unnervingly quiet that morning. The wind that usually swept across the golden grasslands had died down, and the air hung heavy with something Elara couldn't name, a kind of silence that wasn't peace, but pressure. Ranger Elara stood beside her jeep, scanning the northern horizon through her binoculars. The dawn light shimmered faintly, broken by a distant, wavering haze. Smoke. Thin, rising, and spreading. At first, she thought it was just another small brush fire, common during the dry season. But then the wind changed. The smoke thickened, its color shifting from gray to a deep, suffocating orange. Her stomach tightened. She reached for her radio. "Base, this is Ranger Elara. I've got visual on rising smoke in the north. Wind direction just changed, shifting west. Requesting confirmation." Static filled the channel, then a distorted voice broke through. "Copy that, Elara. Teams are investigating. If the wind strengthens, fall back immediately. Repeat, fall back." She lowered the radio, but didn't move. Because north wasn't just a direction. It was a memory. 3 years ago, in that same direction, Elara had pulled a tiger cub from a pit of drowning mud. The storm that day had been merciless. The cub's cries swallowed by the thunder. And the mother tiger, frantic, pacing in circles around her trapped child. Elara had been warned not to interfere. But when she looked into the mother's eyes, she hadn't seen rage. She'd seen pleading. So she stepped forward, each step a gamble with death, each breath stolen from fear. The mother tiger's growl had echoed, but she didn't attack. Elara reached the cub, pulled it free from the sucking mud, and laid it gently on the ground. Then, a moment of stillness. The mother approached, and for one heartbeat, their eyes met. It wasn't predator and prey. It was two mothers of life, two beings sharing the same instinct, protect. That look had never left her. It followed her on patrols, in dreams, in every whisper of the wind that crossed the savannah. And now, as she stared north again, she couldn't help but feel that something, or someone, was calling back. She climbed into her jeep and turned the key. The engine coughed, choked, and died. Again, and again, the heat had boiled the fuel line. "Come on," she hissed, hitting the wheel. Nothing. Then the first line of fire appeared, thin, flickering, and hungry. It slithered across the dry grass like a living thing. And behind it, the wind roared. Elara jumped out, covering her mouth with a damp cloth. Her radio hissed one last time. "Elara, the fire split. North and west fronts merging. Evacuate." But there was no escape. Everywhere she turned, smoke, flame, and noise. The fire was alive now, breathing, chasing. She dropped to her knees. Her lungs screamed for air. The smoke clawed at her throat. In that chaos of sound and heat, she whispered to no one, "Please, not like this." Then a sound, low, deep, rolling through the fire like thunder beneath the earth. A growl. Her head jerked up. Through the haze, a shape moved. Large, steady, each step deliberate, each movement confident. The flames parted, and from within them emerged a tiger. Its coat shimmered under the firelight, gold and black, like embers and ash dancing together. Its eyes locked onto hers. Calm, focused, unafraid. Elara's breath caught in her throat. It couldn't be. Not here. Not now. Not her. The tiger moved closer, its massive paws silent on the scorched ground. It didn't growl again. It didn't attack. It simply turned its head, eastward, and then looked back at her. Through the burning veil, she saw it. The faint outline of a dry riverbed. Lower ground. A possible escape. She understood. It was showing her the way. Elara stood. The heat was unbearable. Her body screamed for rest. But her feet moved anyway. One step, then another. She followed the tiger. Every few meters, it glanced back, as if making sure she was still there. The fire roared around them. But wherever it went, the wind shifted just enough to open a path. It was impossible, and yet it was happening. The ranger and the predator, once separated by fear, now united by instinct. Survivors, together, walking through a storm of flame and fate. And that night, in the heart of the burning savannah, two fires burned, one consuming the land, and one rekindling the bond between man and nature. The flames moved like an ocean, each gust of wind a new wave crashing down upon them. The sky above was no longer blue, only a seething dome of red and black. Elara's lungs burned. Every breath was smoke. Her legs trembled, but the tiger pressed forward. when a burning tree collapsed ahead. It leapt over the trunk with effortless grace. Elara followed, but stumbled, falling hard to the ground. Her palms hit searing earth. Pain shot through her arms. The smell of burnt fabric and flesh filled the air. She gasped, then froze. The tiger had turned back. It approached, slow and deliberate, its tail swaying. When it reached her, it brushed her arm gently with the tip of its tail, a gesture that shouldn't have meant anything. But somehow she understood. It was telling her, keep moving. They pressed on. The fire shifted again, this time from the right. The tiger tilted its head, listening. Then it moved left, cutting across the slope. Elara followed, mimicking its movements like a shadow. Every instinct she had told her to run, but every heartbeat whispered, trust it. Minutes bled into hours, or maybe hours into minutes. Time was meaningless inside the inferno. Elara's vision blurred. The world was only light, sound, and heat. Then a flash. A sudden explosion ripped through the air. A buried gas canister, left behind by a Ranger team, had detonated in the heat. The blast threw her to the ground. Her ears rang. The world spun. Through the ringing, she saw it. The tiger, also thrown, staggering. Its fur singed along one flank. Her heart stopped. Please no, she whispered. But the tiger rose, shaking off the ash. It took one step, then another, and placed itself directly between her and the fire. Its body was a shield, its silhouette glowing in the inferno's light. The flames pressed forward, but the tiger didn't move. Its eyes met hers again, and in them, she saw not instinct, but memory. The fire began to slow. The air changed. Through the haze, Elara saw it. The dry riverbed, just ahead. They were almost there, but a fallen acacia tree blocked the path. Its roots smoldered, its trunk still burning. The only way through was under it. Elara hesitated. The space was narrow, the heat unbearable. If her clothes caught fire, it would be over. She looked at the tiger. It crouched low, and without hesitation, slid beneath the burning trunk. Its fur brushed the embers, but it kept moving. No fear, no sound. Elara followed, crawling through the smoke, feeling the fire lick at her back. When she emerged on the other side, she collapsed into the cool, wet sand of the riverbed. The tiger stood above her, breathing heavily, its chest rising and falling like a living drum. Elara pressed her hands into the sand, feeling the blessed chill beneath the heat. Tears streamed down her face. For a long time, they stayed like that, two survivors surrounded by silence. Then, slowly, the tiger stepped closer. It lowered its head, and with the gentlest motion, touched her shoulder. The contact lasted only a heartbeat, but in that instant, every boundary between man and beast dissolved. It wasn't a thank you. It wasn't goodbye. It was an old debt, finally repaid. Moments later, the wind shifted again. The fire changed direction, turning back toward the west. The sound of burning faded. Elara closed her eyes. Her body gave in. The last thing she saw was the tiger walking into the smoke, its stripes vanishing into the light. By morning, the sky was pale. Helicopters circled above the blackened land. When the rescue team reached the dry riverbed, they found her, alive but barely. Her uniform burned, her skin covered in soot. Next to her, pressed into the ash, was a single, enormous paw print. The team leader crouched beside it. This can't be real. A tiger? Here. Elara stirred, her lips dry and cracked. Her voice came out as a whisper. He was here. They exchanged glances. No one said a word, because deep down, they knew something had happened that couldn't be explained. When Elara woke again, she was in the medical tent. The doctors told her she was lucky, miraculously lucky. No major burns, only exhaustion and dehydration. As they bandaged her arm, one nurse frowned. How did you get this mark? Elara looked. Across her forearm was a long, thin scar. Not a burn, but a scratch, clean and shallow. She smiled faintly. A reminder from a friend. Days later, she returned to the north line. The landscape was nothing but black soil and silence. But near the edge of the old acacia grove, she found something that stopped her heart. For perfect paw prints, pressed deep into the cooling earth. Fresh, too fresh. She knelt beside them, her fingers trembling as they traced the outlines. You came back, she whispered, and you kept your promise. Somewhere in the distance, through the soft hiss of settling ash, a sound echoed. Low, deep, familiar. a roar carried by the wind. She smiled, because she knew. It wasn't a warning. It was a greeting. That evening, in her ranger's logbook, she wrote a single entry. That night, 2 fires burned. One in the wild, one inside me, and both were extinguished by a tiger. She closed the book, and for the first time in years, felt truly still. The next morning, the savannah was reborn. New shoots sprouted through the ash. The wind blew soft and cool, and if anyone had listened carefully, they might have heard it. A whisper carried through the dawn. Empathy is the oldest language of survival.